Jeri's making dessert.
Hi, Katie and Jason. It was nice to talk to you guys this afternoon. And as Bill always says, the Cooking Crusaders are back in town. So,
The culinary
I'm
crusade.
sorry, the Culinary Crusaders.
These are important considerations.
Yes. And of course, Bill is off camera being a smarty pants. So anyway, we're going to make something that when I was a teenager was called Better Than Robert Redford, because in my day Robert Redford was like yummy. So this is a very yummy dessert. And I've done a lot of the work already. So it's really simple. It's sort of like you do 1, 1, 1, and 1. I actually kind of double up on a lot of stuff because I've been making it for so long. I just add some extras. So you start out by making a shortbread crust, which is supposed to be 1 cup of flour, 1 stick of butter, and 1 cup of chopped nuts. And my favorite nut to chop, other than Bill, would be pecans. And so this though, and you do a 9 by 13 pan. In this one I doubled it up because we love the shortbread crust. And then the next layer is going to be a very, the one thing to keep in mind about this dessert is it's a snap to make. It's really simple. It uses everything that you can find in the store that has all the extra additive things that if you were eating healthy you wouldn't use, but it makes it delicious. And so if I'm gonna, it's kind of one of those things like if I'm gonna go somewhere and we're gonna, we have to bring something along and I've got the ingredients, this is what I would do because it's so easy. But you take, you just need cream cheese that you let stay out and soften, the butter that goes into the pan, flour, and then it calls, then you use a couple of boxes of instant pudding. Make sure you use instant pudding. I've always made it with chocolate, but today I'm going to do something a little different that we'll talk about. And then we make what I would call a poor man's cream cheese. And you take 1 container of cream cheese, 8 ounces, and you let it get really soft and you mix it with 1 cup of powdered sugar and get that mixed and try to get as many of the lumps out as you can. This is not perfection. And then you take Cool Whip, and everything here that I've used is pretty much the off-brand, so this is a really inexpensive dessert as well. So our local IGA down here in Willamina, I got an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip. And once you get the cream cheese and you use your Michigander stirring spoon and get your powdered sugar mixed in, then you add the whipped cream, the whipped topping. It's not really whipped cream, the whipped topping, otherwise known as Cool Whip. Then that's your next layer. The challenge with this is you want it to be really, really soft. Really soft. I wanted to make sure I was doing these layers right, because if you don't, then the bottom shortbread layer, although mine is really thick, if you do it based on a typical recipe, it's going to pull up. One of the things that I started doing is when you make the shortbread topping, or I'm sorry, the shortbread bottom crust, what you usually do is the butter's really soft and so you mix it in with your fingers. Well, I actually melt the butter now. It still tastes just as good, but it also makes for the layer, the crusted layer, not to be so fussy to work with. So as you can see, this went on really easy. What I will say is, again, one of my things that I would do if I had it, and I don't, because I made this dessert last week to do this film, and Bill was so hungry to eat it. We really didn't take the time to film it, so Bill and his desserts. I probably would have added a little bit more cream cheese to it. So this is really soft. But the one thing you want to make sure you do is get it in the refrigerator for a while so that it kind of tightens up, and this will become less soft. But again, I wanted to make sure that the yeah, it's good. I wanted to make sure that the cream cheese was really, really soft. Then the next thing you do is you take a package of, in this case, what I usually do is I use an instant pudding mix, and these pudding mixes require 2 cups of milk, and then the pudding, and I just mix it up really fast. But what we're going to do is we don't want pudding, we want like a pie filling where it's firm and stands up. So you use half the amount of milk. So it's the chocolate pudding, instant pudding, and then I've got it in here, and in this case I'm going to make a double layer, so this is going to be really thin. I don't know if this is going to be difficult, but Bill wanted to try, I had bought butterscotch and chocolate, so I was thinking that maybe I could do butterscotch and chocolate together. So this gets really, really thick, and it's best to work with it as soon as you mix it up, because it's not being super fun to work with, especially since I have that other layer on the bottom, the cheesecake sort of layer, and I've got it really soft right now. But I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't really matter how perfect this is. This could be the most imperfect thing that you make, and it will be the most delicious thing for you to eat. And what I might do is, I have more pudding mix, and I have more milk, and I think that I'm going to go ahead and add, I have to remember where I put the pudding. I'm going to go ahead and make another little bit of this chocolate pudding, because I just am not seeing a lot of pudding on there. And like I said, you can you just do this as you go. So I'm making another little bit of chocolate because you can kind of see I wasn't able to get a lot of chocolate on there. I may also decide to do more of the butterscotch. But you can see that this is sort of like a pudding mixture right now, but give it just a couple of more minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, and it'll be real thick. So this is going to pour a lot easier. This will pour a lot easier over the top of this, and then it'll set. The nice thing about this, like I said, is you can do whatever you want. One of the ways that, when this first came out, one of the things that was a really big deal was they came out with a pistachio flavored pudding. And so a lot of people made these with pistachio flavored. And I think they called that better than Burt Reynolds, but I thought Burt Reynolds was a little bit goofy, so I never had the pistachio one. Okay, so again, this does not have to be super pretty, because as far as I'm concerned, it's about the taste on this one. One of the things I'm not going to be able to do because I don't have enough is the very last part of doing this is putting Cool Whip on the top. But since I don't have any more Cool Whip, after we have dinner and we're going to sit down and have our dessert, I'm just going to take some heavy whipping cream, a little bit of vanilla, and some sugar. You guys have probably made your own homemade whipped cream. So I'm going to go ahead and make some homemade whipped cream and put it on the top. Bill and I have to go into town tomorrow, and we'll probably get some Cool Whip to finish this off. So now I've got the butterscotch, which is really thick, and I hope that I can get this to work, because I've got that nice thin, it's going to mix in here. So I don't know, we'll see. I've never done this, but I love the taste of butterscotch. So maybe what I'll do is, this is getting nice and thick. I could do another butterscotch package. I got enough to do 2. And so I'll do that really quickly. This just doesn't take any time at all. I just have to find the other box of butterscotch. This is how easy it is. I've got a box of butterscotch pudding, instant pudding. I'm going to put it in the bowl. I'm going to measure out a cup of milk. I'm going to go back through this with you guys since I kind of am freewheeling it. Now, I might not have done this if I would have had the butterscotch and the chocolate ready. But you know what you can do with this too. You could take canned pumpkin for the holidays and add a little bit of Cool, half and half with Cool Whip, and put a few spices. Bill's not a big cinnamon allspice person, but you could make it taste like a pumpkin pie, a little bit like a pumpkin pie dessert. And when after this is done in the refrigerator, it's gonna stand up really well. So again, it's a nice thing if you want to take something really easy to work. I'm just gonna pour this on here so we can have that butterscotch flavor all over. Butterscotch and chocolate, I don't know, to me sounds pretty good. And so this is it. The next thing this is the dessert, and when we're ready to eat it, we'll come back and show it to you. But what I would do then is, now that I've got this on here, I would normally put another layer of just plain Cool Whip, and then to make it look pretty, I would take some little chocolate discs or chopped pecans or both, and I would scrape some chocolate over the top and make it look pretty and kind of fluff up the top. This is so simple, so you should be able to do it. Again, I'm going to go over the layers really fast since I've played around with it. It's 1 cup of flour. It's a 1/2 to 1 cup of chopped nuts of your choice. I chose pecans, and a stick of butter. All of this stuff I've doubled, but this is the main recipe. That's 1 layer. At 350 degrees, you cook it for 20 minutes, and then you cool it. It needs to be completely cool. The next layer is going to be 1 8-ounce container of cream cheese, 1 cup of powdered sugar that you mix together. Once that's mixed together, then you want to do about 6 ounces or so of Cool Whip, 4 to 6 ounces, and mix that together. Spread that over the cooled frosting. Then you want to take 1 package of pudding and mix it with 1 cup of milk rather than the 2 cups that it requires, and that's your next layer. Then you want to put Cool Whip over the top and sprinkle chopped nuts or shaved chocolate, and voila, you've got the best dessert in town. We'll be back and tell you how yummy it is. Bye.
The moment of truth. Man, there ought to be a law. And I'll tell you what, honey. This is great with real whipped cream. Even better than with non-dairy whipped topping. Hi guys, this is delicious. Try it at home. I was so excited about the first one a few days ago that I ate it before we filmed. What's not to like? Nuts, chocolate, butterscotch, whipped cream. Oh yeah.